Welcome, I'm Neha Dadbhala. Today I'll have the distinct pleasure of speaking with Robert Swan, the only man to walk to the North and South Pole. Watch us here at TiEcon Live. Welcome back to TiEcon Live. I'm Neha Dadbhala. Today I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Sir Robert Swan to our studio. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Now, whatever said about you is very less, because the magnitude of work that you've done, it's amazing. He's the only man to walk to the North and the South Pole, and he's going to take us through the journey of his experience. So tell me, Robert, how was your experience?
Well, it began when I was 11, and it was a dream. And the hardest thing I ever did actually wasn't to walk to both poles. I was probably the first person in history stupid enough to do that. It was actually raising $5 million when I was 24 years old.
Wow.
And I'd never been camping, never been on an expedition. And it took me about 7 years to do it. But what I learned is that if you actually show commitment for a project, for your business, people will actually take you seriously. Words aren't good enough. I learned to show really got things off the ground. And the journeys themselves were very hard, not easy, but we came through and I'm still breathing.
So the biggest question is, from where did you walk to the North and the South Pole?
Well, when you walk to the South Pole, you go to Antarctica, you start on the edge, and it's 900 nautical miles through to the pole. For the North Pole, you go up to the edge of the Arctic, walk 700 miles, and you reach the pole. It was not so much what I did during the journeys, it was what happened to us.
Right.
It was 20 years ago that we saw the ice caps melting. I walked under a hole in the ozone layer. My eyes changed colour walking to the South Pole because we walked under a hole in the ozone. So 20 years ago, I touched a lot of the issues that people now talk about with global warming and climate change. Our mission now is to inspire people to make businesses that make money and protect the environment. That's my new kind of South and North Pole mission.
So what is this 2041 mission of yours?
Well, that's really for the young people. In the year 2041, the treaty that preserves Antarctica and keeps it from being destroyed like we seem to be destroying everywhere else on Earth, that treaty comes up for review in the year 2041, 33 years from now. So part of what I do is I focus on the younger people, maybe who's 10, 12 years of age now. So when they're kind of 50 years of age in 2041, they'll do the right thing when they're running companies, when they're running the government, when they're maybe the first Prime Minister who's a lady, or whatever it is. I hope they'll preserve Antarctica.
That is beautiful. I want to talk about the fundraising that you did, I think, for your walk. It is a tremendous effort on your part. It's, of course, people who've participated by giving funds as well. How was that process? How did you get to the point where you decided, okay, now this is good enough, we should walk?
Well, I think that, when you're young, you have to put everything into it. So I didn't have a house, I didn't have a life, I didn't try and do two things. And a lot of people I meet, they say, yeah, I'd love to do some adventurous thing, but they then sort of still want their mortgage, they want their Jaguar car, they want these other things. When I did it, I said, right, that's it.
And that's difficult.
It is very difficult, but I was young, therefore it made it easier. So I lived in an old warehouse on the River Thames in the East End of London. I drove a taxi at night to pay my bills, and out I'd go every day to raise the money. What I have found, though, is that in what we do, it's all to do with inspiring people, inspiring employees. So now what I spend a lot of time doing when I'm raising money is to say to somebody, hey, send a couple of your young future leaders with us for a few weeks to Antarctica, and they'll come back as champions, great leaders, and also learn a lot about the environment, because the environment isn't anymore like a sort of go and hug a tree and be all green.
Right.
It's actually survival for business people. And people need to be inspired.
And people agree to come to such
Oh yeah, they do. Oh no, I get 100 odd business women and men come every year with me, and it's not for Tarzans or Amazons. It's like for people who really care, want to go and see it. It's not dangerous, but they go and see where the great ice caps are actually melting. That words like global warming aren't just kind of something you read in the newspaper.
So for a person like myself,
You're on.
I'm on.
You could come.
I can't even walk about a mile.
It doesn't matter.
I'm spoiled with a car. And
It's fine.
so that's fine. I can just
Absolutely,
drop everything.
just drop everything, get on a ship, come to Antarctica. You don't have to walk very far, but I tell you what, if you can make it up on the deck, which I'm sure you could, you would see the most beautiful place in the world, Antarctica, the last great wilderness left on Earth.
Now, was this something of a dream that you had very young? Did you ever think that, yes, you know what, I am going to close my eyes, this is a dream that I had, and yes, it's come true? Or was it a process? Like, did you get there thinking about issues? Was it a certain push from someone, someone who inspired you to do this?
I saw a film when I was 11 about Antarctica, and I said, that's it. So I made the decision when I was 11 years old that I would become the first person in history to walk to both poles. And I have to say, everybody laughed at me, they still do. People talked about counselling, psychiatric help, they still do. But we did it, not me. I became the first, yes, but it was a fantastic team effort that made that happen, truly against the odds and against what everybody said could be done. People said, you're going to die. But I think I'm still breathing.
I think you are breathing and well off. Do you have a family now?
I do have a son, Barney, who's 14, and he lives with his mother in Australia. His mother gave up on me, quite rightly, because I was always on an iceberg somewhere. But we're all a great...
I don't see you on an iceberg right now.
No, but I'm sort of spent a lot of time on an iceberg over the years, and so she went to go and live in Australia with my son. And I see him every holidays. He's been to Antarctica even. But interestingly enough, he's decided at 14 he's going to become a doctor, which I think is a great thing.
And saving lives again.
Cool.
Doing good. So if you were to advise an entrepreneur, it's somewhat of a survival of the fittest again, in the kind of industry that they are. They have to strive. It has to be a passion. It's something that they go after. Your advice to entrepreneur, just one line.
Think carefully before you commit, but when you commit, do it.
That's it.
That's it.
Great. It was such a pleasure having you here with us at TiEcon Live. This was Robert Swan here at TiEcon Live. Watch more episodes at mytiecon.org.